All right, everyone, a second presidential debate may actually be in the works after all. The Harris campaign appears to have gotten a big cock after the first debate. Admittedly, it didn't go so well for Donald Trump. He didn't do poorly. It's not that, it's just it was underwhelming. He should have been able to hit a home run, and instead he sort of whiffed. And so the Kamala campaign, link in the description, archived of course, is now asking for a second debate in October. I think that he should take this opportunity. Clean yourself up and get with it and really knock her out. That's what you need to do. If you want an October surprise, it'll be Donald Trump destroying Kamala Harris. The thing is, at the first debate, which was last night, it was just like you didn't really follow through with your punches. He jabbed at his opponent, but he never really followed through and delivered the knockout punch. Kamala Harris was vacuous. He never called her out on the fact that she was being vacuous. She was able to distance herself from the Biden administration. Donald Trump should have tied her in more closely with it, because of course the Biden administration, especially on economic and border policy, which border czar was never even mentioned, if I remember correctly, was not really a thing. Instead, Donald Trump ended up playing defense sometimes, which is uncharacteristic. I don't know why he took the bait. He should have just ignored the things that she said and tied her in repeatedly with the Biden administration and then lashed out at her. He should have punched harder. I think he was advised that she would try to bait him into doing the mean thing, and so she would, do the, no, I'm speaking sort of thing. Instead, he was the one that did that, and otherwise was generally on the defense, defending his record, J6 and things like that. Now, Kamala lied repeatedly, over and over again, and didn't get fact-checked, by the way, for it. There are fact-checks right now on like CNN and places like that for Donald Trump. Try finding one for Kamala Harris. Other than Fox News, you're probably not going to find it. I think that a second presidential debate would be a very good idea for Donald Trump, because he can refine his messaging for a second debate. He can refine the way in which he debates her. He's got to realize one thing. Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. Joe Biden is out to lunch in the sense of dementia. Kamala Harris is out to lunch in the sense of she's a goddamn psychopath. Remind people of the fact that she is a warmonger, that she's quite clearly socialistic in nature. You can bring up Bernie Sanders, of course, in his statements. Things like that. Just elementary things. These are the tidbits of debate prep that his team really needs to be cueing him into. I still favor Trump to win, but that being said, he didn't deliver the knockout punch that makes it like a 99% chance of winning. Instead, it remains basically in the race stagnant in nature. I think it would be a very, very good idea to take up a second presidential debate. Now, the Kamala Harris campaign has challenged him. What he should do is say, well, I gladly accept. I wanted 3 debates. He can outstrip her, by the way, and say, no, I don't just want one more debate. Why don't we debate like, a week from now or something like that? We can set this up. It doesn't take that much effort. We'll have 2 more debates, and one of them should be a foreign policy debate. That one would not go over well for Kamala Harris, especially with regards to being border czar, overseeing the shit in Ukraine, Gaza, etc. Get her on record with regards to Israel v. Palestine as well, and then you should have another debate, which is a town hall. Traditionally, for decades, there have been 3 presidential debates. The first one, like the one we just saw, is general questions. And of course, it's on an adversarial network. Of course, we're not going to pretend that the moderator was actually being fair. The second one is typically foreign policy. Then you usually have the VP debate. That's Vance v. Walz. I think Vance will carry that fairly easily. And then the third one usually was a town hall style debate. So people would show up with questions, pre-vetted of course, and then ask them to the candidates. That's the format that we need. we need a couple of more presidential debates. Trump has the ability right now to get out ahead of this and say, not only do I accept your October debate proposal, I also want a third debate. I want to debate you a third time. That's what he should do. He is a good speaker. He's more rhetorically talented than Kamala Harris. He just didn't take the opportunity at the first debate. Unfortunately, at the first debate, he decided to whiff it. Did he do terribly? No. Did he do well? No, he didn't. He broke even, basically. It doesn't move the metrics of the race at all, and that's rather unfortunate. It's unfortunate because we were hoping for a knockout punch, so to speak. He can get that moment, but he needs more time to do it. He needs to be more prepared. He needs to understand that Kamala Harris is not Joe Biden. Joe Biden, recently has pretty much melted down mentally. He doesn't even know where he is half of the time. Kamala is young enough to be aware of where she is. And she's got the Taylor Swift endorsement, for what little that matters, which is hilarious, actually, when you think about it. Apparently there were AI-generated images and quotes and stuff like that, pretending to be Taylor Swift endorsing Donald Trump. Like anyone would actually believe that anyway, so, for what little that's worth as well. A second presidential debate may be in the works, but I want a third. I want a town hall style debate. Kamala Harris is not going to be able to hold up in a town hall. In a general debate, she can hold her own, generally speaking, mainly because Trump chose the wrong strategy. He decided to be more relaxed. He took up sort of the same line that he did with Biden. The problem is that Biden was his own worst enemy. He melted down himself. He didn't need any antagonism. He didn't need any prompting to do the deer in the headlights moment, like an Elizabeth Warren moment. It wasn't necessary because he's fucking demented. With Kamala Harris, you're going to have to get under her skin. You're going to have to bring back the spirit of 2016, get under her skin, antagonize her, and get her to cackle, or something like that. And Trump appears to have been trained by his handlers not to do that at the first debate, which was not necessarily the greatest of ideas. Did he do all right? Yes. Yes, it was perfectly acceptable. But you want beyond acceptable. What you really want is to put the bitch to rest. You want to expose the fact that she's a socialist to the American public, bring up Bernie Sanders and his stunning endorsement, for example, tie her into the Biden administration, bring up the fact that she was border czar, and things like that. You need to be able to get under her skin. Go on the offense. The best defense is a good offense. And Trump, he did that a couple of times during the debate. That was good. Like during his closing statement. The closing statement was perfectly fine. But the thing is, half the people had tuned out the debate by the time the closing statement was made. That's just the way that it works. You've got to be very upfront about it. Kamala Harris lied repeatedly, gave vacuous answers, but was never truly challenged on those. And so what could have been a knockout punch by Donald Trump became just a bunch of jabbing, basically, which I thought was very, very unfortunate. Again, not disastrous, not terrible. It's just, it wasn't Trump's best debate performance, admittedly speaking. Again, not terrible, but not great either. You need to take up a second debate. If it's being offered, not only take up the second debate, but demand a third. Go beyond the Kamala Harris campaign. Say, look, I'm willing to debate you 5 or 6 times. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, I have no problem with this. Sounds like fun. Because then Trump projects strength, number one. That's important. That's something that his supporters want, his core supporters. And number two, then it forces her onto the defense. Right now, it looks like Trump's on the defense, like he was at certain portions during the first debate. When Kamala Harris says, I want to debate a second time, if Trump says no, of course, then they'll say, well, Trump is trying to hide. Now, of course, we know that that's not the case. We know that that's bullshit. But it will appear that way to independent voters. And independent voters did, in the CNN poll, admittedly, lean towards Harris having won the debate. That's partially because Donald Trump was not in top form and didn't do the Trump thing. What he needs to do is get more mad. He needs to get more angry. Go ahead and let her toss her head around and do the sassy thing. It doesn't matter. That's just going to turn off more voters. Donald Trump, in my opinion, needs to draw her out of her shell. Get her on record with regards to the actual issues. This was not a great debate for Donald Trump. It wasn't a disaster. Some people are saying, well, Donald Trump really flubbed it. No, it wasn't that bad. It's just that he didn't deliver the knockout that he could have. He's rhetorically talented enough to do such a thing. He just didn't take initiative to do so. I think that what happened is they were expecting, I think that his staffers and people around him said, look, Kamala's going to try to bait you. Don't take the bait. And that is true. She did try to bait him, and generally he avoided it, although, again, he played defense far too often. But in that, he became too cautious, more than anything else, which is, again, uncharacteristic for Trump, so I have to imagine that somebody else dreamed that one up. You need to go on the offense, nail her to the Biden administration, and then fucking crucify her. Take the second debate, and then demand a third, or something like that. Take the initiative, put her on the defense, and see what happens. That's about all. Peace out.